You know, it's amazing what you can accomplish when you're really, people can see that's authentic.
Yeah.
You coming through. And everything that happens to you, for you, could be something you turn for you, because you can kind of spin it all into being a positive thing. I think it was a little easier probably before social media, but you could just be, I like being the idea of able to change whoever wanted to.
Or are not achieving at their maximum potential or in a past frame of reference.
Totally.
So this is something really huge for most of it. It's why, actually, when I do the show, it's difficult for achievers to go, okay, I'll go back for you because you're asking me. I'll tell you my old story.
Right,
but it's kind of uncomfortable, awkward, and
it's kind of not really. I mean, it's relevant.
It's relevant to the listener, but not relevant to you.
Well, that's really. I mean, all these stuff I said there. Ones like, you know, I think about a friend of mine, Jesse Alexander, with the song "The Climb" for Miley Cyrus, and that song is all about enjoying the climb. It's not about the destination. It's about enjoying the climb. Right? So that's a big thing probably for overachievers. Yes. I just reread that book, The Four Agreements, and that talks a lot about being, you know.
Tom Brady recommended that to me.
Did you really?
That's his reference book.
That's his thing.
So, you know,
it's easy. It's about this big. It's got 4 things, right? Your words and be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions, and always try to do better. Those are the 4 things.
Yes.
But in the early part of that book, it talks about being your story. And I haven't been through nearly what so many of your listeners have been through. There's so many traumatic experiences, especially for a lot of women out there. I can't imagine what that's like.
Yes.
But I still would say it's your life. It's very short. You can. It's at some point, if you're gonna have any happiness, you have to just.
You got to move forward.
Yeah.
I didn't know we were going to go there, but like, I have this thing that I talk about often where everything in your life happens for you and not to you if you believe that to be the case. So like my dad's drinking, and my dad's my best friend. He's been sober a long time. But it actually happened for me.
I heard you talk about that. It's amazing.
Yeah, I would literally not be doing this. I wouldn't have been pretty good at like evaluating. My dad would come home, I'd have to kind of distinguish. Is it sober dad or not sober dad? By the way, my dad's my best friend, literally. But it built these skills in me.
It made you.
That when I went to work at the group home, everyone here knows my story, but it happened for me. But if you're always replaying it
for me,
if it's always replaying it as just the negative, it's gonna be a self-fulfilling prophecy the rest of your life.
It's amazing how, and I feel like recently this is something I've been working on, but it just like when something happens where you're always like, oh, that's damn. And it's like, whoa. And I'll tell my wife, I'm like, this could be a good thing, you know. So, prime example, the other day I was fishing in Colorado at my festival. I didn't have a fishing license, right? So I was on a private farm fishing a creek. I wasn't even expecting to fish. It was just such a random thing. My buddy Luke Bryan had been there the day before. He caught a fish on there, and so I had to go out there and try to top him, of course, the next day, and I caught 4. And I posted on Instagram. Really smart move, right? And I'm walking through town the next day, and I'm taking pictures of some local people, just kind of checking out how the festival was, having a good time. There's a wildlife guy there with his camera, and I'm like, he's like, do you want to do this here or somewhere else? And I was like, my ego, I'm like, he wants to take a picture with me, obviously. Yeah, we can do whatever you want, man. I'm cool. We can do it here. He goes, did you catch 4 rainbow yesterday? I said, yeah. You have a license? I said, no. He goes, do you want to do this here or somewhere else? So I got in his car and he gave me a ticket.
I saw this.
And so I posted it on Instagram, but I immediately took it down because I don't want to mess with Luke. Is a huge hunter and fisherman. So I don't want to mess with his whole situation.
Right.
He and I actually,
and now 10 million people heard it.
But I took it off Instagram. Now they're
just kidding.
But well, here's the thing. So he calls me because I took it down off Instagram, but I forgot about it. It's still on Facebook and all that. It's all linked. I'm not very good at all that stuff. And I was like, man, you know, this could end up being a good thing because we need to own up to it. You know, you need to call the folks at Colorado Wildlife. You might make some friends there. It might be be some this is what you do. He is a hunter fisherman. That's what he does. This gonna be. He's like, buddy, I talked to the folks over there, made some good friends. It was a 10 out of 10 conversation. You know, they got it. I paid. Paid the. So I just feel like everything that happens to you for you could be something you turn for you because you can kind of spin it all into being a positive thing.
The happiest people. If you look at any area of your life, eventually.
I know people have been through horrific things, but you can turn it into being something that makes you who you are. Okay. The heartbreak you go through, that girl broke your heart, but it made you the person that you are.
I like to think that, I think you're right, I like to think that it should have at least taught you something.
Yes.
There's a lesson learned.
It's the only time you learn.
That's when you learn.
You only learn in the hard
and I'm a huge believer in that, and I think the happiest people don't wait for hindsight for that. They discover that in the present moment. Like one little random example is my dad's got cancer right now. And you'd think, my God, what the hell is good about your father suffering with cancer, right? But to be candid with you, I've looked at my own family as the time more precious now. Yeah. When the phone rings and it was my dad before, maybe every once in a while I'd be like, I'll call him back. Now it's like, oh, it's dad, I get to talk to him again. It's just made everything more precious. It's not that like this stuff's not cool, but like really, would I rather have a beach house or would I rather just be able to talk to my dad, right?
Totally.
So it's put things in perspective. So everybody listening to this, I just want you to understand something, because this is why I wanted Dierks to talk about, you know, some of his beginnings. Your mess does not disqualify you from being successful. Your current mess, the current thing that you're ashamed of or gives you anxiety or gave you pain, you have our permission to set that down, turn the page, and start to write a new chapter in your life. And that's why I want to talk about some of those other chapters too, by the way. So with you, you're going to say something.
Well, no, it's amazing. It's that's what I love about life, is that you can, I think it was a little easier probably before social media, but you can just be. I like being the idea of able to change whoever I want to be. I don't like being stuck in one type of like person, or whoever my parents were, or whoever. I think one thing about growing up in Arizona, there's almost less roots to like a culture. It's more just like be who. I'm in the South now, and there's definitely a lot of like
legacy thinking.
And it's like that's good for some folks. That's fine, but for me, I just like, man, who do you want to be today?
Yeah,
just be whoever you want to be. It's fun. That's what kids do. I learned so much from my kids. By the way, the got to. I was riding to school with my daughter, and I was like, I got to write songs today with these guys, and I was kind of saying it like that, and she goes, you got to, or you get to? I was like, I was like, yeah, I get to. You lose perspective. You get something like a house or something, and something that would have changed your whole life. Your life would be perfect if you just own a house, right?
Yes.
And then 3 years later, you own it for a while, and you kind of forget that you own a house.
You're right.
I'm a songwriter in Nashville, Tennessee. I get to write songs with amazing people. I actually wrote a song that day called I Don't Got To, I Get To.
You did?
Based on what she'd said. But
how beautiful is that?
Yeah, but
I did this yesterday. It's so weird. After I spoke, I went to our team and I said, I have to go do this signing with the books and the pictures.
Right.
And I said, immediately I went, let me correct that. I get to.
Totally.
It like changed the whole experience for me. Speaking of your children, Knox is a smart dude.
Yeah.
Because he understood how much bigger my arms were than yours last night.
He didn't matter how much I tried to
You tried
I was
to
giving him a wedgie. I was like, the knuckle of justice was coming in there. His arms were bigger.
He's your identical twin, by the way.
Yeah, he's a little mini me.
That was so cool. So I want to talk about defining moment a little bit. I get the feeling, because your dad was involved a little bit. Didn't you drive, wasn't there kind of a significant decision you made to just head to Tennessee?
I did.
What is that? What happened there? I
just knew after high school, went to University of Vermont for a year, and great place. I don't know what the hell I was doing. It's kind of drifting a little bit. I got in, so I went. I wanted to go to Boulder, where my wife went, but I did not get in there. I've never been a very good student. But I got there, and I just realized I was obsessed with country music. I don't know why. I mean, there's been a couple defining moments in my life. One was I was 17 years old. My friend Jack Brown lives in Chicago. He sat me down. I was playing I'd been into country music with my dad. He liked country music, so I listened to it because of him. 13 to 17, I was in anything that had power chords. Van Halen, Iron Maiden, Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne, Pearl Jam. I was just listening to anything. But I hadn't really found a musical home. But my buddy sat me down, and he played me one song by Hank Jr., Hank Williams Jr., but let's see, it's a song called Man to Man, and it is, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like maybe like a coin going down a slot machine and hitting all the right levers of your being. It's just like, really? I knew exactly what I wanted to do from that one moment. And he played me a Marty Stewart song, and he played me an Alan Jackson song. I can tell you the 3 songs. And I was like, put the electric guitar down, get the acoustic guitar out. It was like I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And I moved to Nashville 2 years later. He actually went to school down at Vanderbilt where I was. And
did you know when you moved there, was there something for you to go to when you got there?
No, I had no family there. I had no one. No,
you just chased the dream.
I went there, and this time around when I applied at school, I went to talk to the admissions director. I mean, she could see the passion in my. I was like, I have to be in Nashville. I have to be at the school, and just. It's amazing what you can accomplish when people can see that's authentic you coming through. And I got into school there. And the first day I got to Nashville, I got a job as an intern to the Country Music Association. And I mean.
How weird is that?
Yeah.
You were an intern for CMA, then you ended up.
Oh, yeah. I used to walk with the walkie-talkie on and escorting Shania Twain back to her bus. And
that's so amazing.
I did all that stuff behind the scenes back there, yeah.
Are you all hearing this? I don't know if everybody gets this. This dude was an intern at CMA. How'd you get that job, by the way?
Just got it. I wanted it. There's the one quote that I carried around my whole, I had this binder that had my songs in there, but also had all my songwriting appointments, and it kept with me. And there's a guy named Harold Bradley who was a big figure in Nashville, and on his tombstone he had this quote. I thought it was his. It turns out I think it's from Calvin Coolidge, but it's about how nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. And
wow,
it's it's nothing in the world can take. Talent will not. Nothing's more common than unrewarded talent. Genius will not. Unrecognized genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world's full of educated derelicts.
Listen to you.
Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. And persistence has just always been like my thing, I think. I'm not the best singer by any means. I'm like really not that great of a singer, honestly. I'm like,
I don't even know what you're talking about.
I can find a note and put a lot of air behind it, and I have some gravel to my voice, and I'm a good bar singer, you know. There's some unbelievable singers out there, and they're on TV, they're all over the country. I mean, it's kind of like the lottery. You have to be present to win. You have to be in Nashville to do this, right? So that's just step one, and then you just got to be persistent. But it's easy to be persistent when you are afflicted with a love of something, right? And I just loved country music, and my buddy, it was more than a desire. It's like, it's an affliction. Like, I can't help but like listen to this music. I love this music. I have to get to Nashville. I don't have any friends there. I have any family there. I don't know how it's going to work out, but I've just got to be there, and I don't know how this is even going to work out, but I just love this music so much, and I'm such a fan of it, still am. And
I've done a lot of shows. No one's ever said that. Afflicted with the love of something.
Oh,
That's
man.
good.
Trademark that. We'll write that.
That was good. No, I think sometimes also people that are successful take for granted things they're good at. Like one line, I don't care if it's like a football player, a businesswoman I've had on the show or whatever, and you did it. Like, they're very comfortable stepping into spaces, buildings, environments that they're ill prepared for. Like, they have a threshold where they're like, I'm just going to get in there and then I'll figure it out. Yeah. Right? And that's what you did. You got in the car, you went to Nashville, you just like, you Vanderbilt, you just like stepped in there, you'd figure it out. Yeah. Whereas most people go, I have to be completely prepared. I have to know everything. I have to have everything lined up. Then I'll take a step.
That's amazing. You know Sadhguru, you ever Sadhguru? He talks about that. He was getting ready to speak somewhere. I go, you going to prepare for it? He goes, no, I just show up. I was like, wow, that's amazing. I mean, your whole life's preparation, right? Just show, just be there. Yeah. Be present in that moment, be authentic.
Hey guys, thanks for sticking around. If you'd like more, click the videos right here. They're exactly what you need to see next. And if you're new here, hit subscribe and become a part of the Max Out community. And tell me what you think about the videos in the comments below. I read all of them every week, and I select winners that get all kinds of prizes, gear, coaching calls with me. Make a comment.